What's up, it's Shanila, and I wanted to come on here and talk to you a little bit about moon energy and what it is, what does it do, how can you use it. And you know, for centuries, for as long as we've known, we have been obsessed with the moon. We are looking at what the moon is doing, the phases. We use it in celebration, in spirituality, in religion, in so many different things. Like in Buddhism, the moon phases directly correspond to religious practices. In Islam and Judaism, the calendars are actually lunar calendars. They're calendars based on the moon. So the moon is a super feminine entity. It's like this energy that is from the feminine divine. It has a free flowing energy and it emits kind of this movement that is about growth and about being able to embody different things that are from the feminine perspective. So you might have heard, you know, the moon cycle, like your period is called the moon cycle. When you're menstruating, it's known as the moon cycle. So it really has this feminine energy behind it. So, you know, everything around us has a frequency, right? Like everything around us has a frequency and a vibration, whether it's alive or whether it's dead, whether it's inanimate, whether it's a table, chair, plants, people, thoughts, everything has a frequency to the molecular cellular level. And this is something we can measure by modern tools of measurement. We can measure that everything is emitting a certain frequency. So the moon itself also is emitting a frequency to us, a certain vibration to us. And it gives us a certain vibration when it's a full moon, and it's different when it's a half moon, and it's different when it's a new moon. So depending on the phase of the moon, we're actually getting a different energy from that. So the moon, it can move around literally water on our planet, right? It moves around the entire ocean. We have high tides, we have low tides because the moon can actually move around this body of water. And if you think about the fact that we have 80% plus water in our body. We have so much water. We're composed of so much water. When the moon has the power to move around the entire ocean, it actually has the power to move around water in our body too. And of course, we're not like, you know, going crazy about it, but there is that movement that happens, especially around when the energy of the moon is different. So that time usually happens during the full moon. The full moon really like resurfaces the water and all the information that we hold in the water of our body. So at the cellular level in the water of our body, we hold memories, we hold emotions, we hold trauma, we hold information that is from our subconscious, and so much in-depth energy that's held in the water. So during full moons especially, that water gets shifted, it gets moved around, and there's these really cool studies that the water in our body actually flow more free flowing, are more free in its flow during full moons than at any other time of the month. So using this information is like, okay, then what am I supposed to do with it? Well, back in the day, they used to have this thing called the Lunacy Act. And if you think about the word lunatic, or, you know, if you think about the word lunatic and then you think about the word luna, the word luna literally means moon in several different languages. So the moon would make people act up. It would make people go crazy, make people kind of like irritable and anxious and just like really grumpy too. Sleep is disturbed, mood is disturbed, anxiety is heightened, and people will kind of go crazy. So they started calling them lunatics, and they made a lunacy act where you could actually get pardoned for acting a certain way during the full moon, which like is a kind of a good idea, but also not a good idea. Anyway, so you know you know that your emotions are getting impacted during this time. So does that mean like because the moon is doing this or that, you're gonna be like you're messed up, like there's nothing to do about it? No, that means that you can bring your awareness to what's happening for you during a certain phase of the moon. So when you're feeling a certain way, you can write down like, okay, this is what I'm feeling, and then look at what the moon phase is. And for yourself, you're gonna start to find patterns. You're gonna start to find that like, yo, I really have super active dreams during full moons, and I have very good sleep during new moons, and I have energy and new ideas during new moons. So for you, it might show up a little bit differently than for somebody else, but to be attentive to the fact that depending on the phase of the moon, we're getting a different vibration. So our thoughts and the ways that we're vibrating on Earth is interacting with this moon energy. So either you can kind of be taken for a ride and be in this vortex and just like everything's gone to crap, or you can say like, wow, this moon energy is really intense, so I know that I'm gonna not be sleeping that well, but I will be having really extravagant and lucid dreams. So instead of being disturbed by the fact that you're not gonna get good sleep for the next 2-3 days, why don't you utilize the information that's coming to you? So if your dream world is really active, especially during the full moon, if your dream world is active, if you're getting symbols that are in the form of ancestral knowledge, or symbols in form of animals that show up in your dream and try to tell you something, why don't you just listen to those things and write down any messages that come to you during this time? So I hope it helps you get a little bit of clarity about what the moon energy is. It's basically the proximity of the moon and the phase of the moon and the energy it's emitting to us during the phases of the moon that help us really get clarity about what's going on in our lives. It just illuminates things in our lives that we may be turning a blind eye to. It really resurfaces things from our subconscious that we're not really, consciously focused on. We may not be even aware that we're carrying stuff with us. It brings some of this stuff to the surface. So instead of going on a ride, instead of being thrown off the loop, and every month when the moon is doing a new thing, don't be scared about it. Let's use the moon energy, utilize it, see how it works for you, and work with it. And other than that, I'll catch you soon.